What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I'd like to get into a story from a Sports Illustrated writer, Pat McAvoy, who is urging the New York Jets to sign Preston Smith, a veteran edge rusher. And honestly, I think it's a move that makes a lot of sense. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be Preston Smith, although he's a name that I've talked about. Zadarius Smith, I think, fits that bill. Jadeveon Clowney would be someone that fits that bill. But I do agree with the thought of adding more at the edge rusher room. And a big reason for that is because right now I feel very good about one of their starters, and Will McDonald coming off of a double-digit sack season. I'm worried about what Jermaine Johnson's going to be at the start of the year. I don't worry about him long term. I think he's a good football player, and I'm excited to watch him this year. I felt like he got robbed of a season a year ago, really disappointing. But to expect him to come out of the gate and be like everything is completely normal when he's, again, expected to probably start training camp on the PUP list is ambitious. And the depth beyond that, we're talking about like Rashad Weaver, Michael Clemens, Eric Watts territory. I think adding a veteran would make a lot of sense. And I'm not talking a long-term deal, a one-year flyer on a relatively cheap contract. Preston Smith played in a rotational role last year. He was split between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Green Bay Packers, had 4.5 sacks on 261 pass rush reps to go along with his 18 pressures. The 3 years prior to this season, he had 8.5, and 9 sacks. I don't think he's a guy you sign and go, yeah, he's playing 65% of snaps. No, but especially early on in the season, they might need him to play over 50%. And then once Jermaine Johnson's good to go, then Preston Smith is your third edge. You could do a hell of a lot worse than Preston Smith as your third edge rusher. And at 6'5", 265 pounds, he's a bigger body edge, which I think would complement Will McDonald's skill set. Will McDonald on one side is, a little bit lighter, bendy, athletic, and Preston Smith a little bit on the bigger side. He's better against the run than a player like Will McDonald, or from what we've seen from Rashad Weaver, Michael Clemens so far in their career. Last year, 14 run stops and 5 tackles for a loss to go with his 4.5 sack season. After looking at the Jets cap situation, after the Rodgers and C.J. Mosley June 1st release, the post 6/1 June cut, the Jets have the 4th most cap space in the NFL at $36.8 million. I'm not saying the Jets have to go into this year and spend up right up to that $36.8 million mark. That's silly, but you have some decent wiggle room. Smith on a 1-year deal, you're likely talking about a quarter of that money, like $7-8 million on a 1-year deal for a guy who could come in and really help improve your defense. I know there's other positions that fans talk about a lot, wide receiver being one of them, safety being another, interior defensive line. But I keep bringing up that whenever a writer or another content creator talks about the edge rushers, that's a room that I think is sneaky and underrated need for this team. Because again, Will McDonald, I'm very confident in. I have high expectations for him this year. But Jermaine Johnson, I think we have to temper expectations in the beginning of the year. Will he hit his stride in the second half? I think so. I think we see him more like the player that we saw in 2023. But I'm just not all that confident that this is what you're getting over a 17-game season and right out of the gate in September after not having a full training camp, after likely not playing in the preseason and missing 15.5 games last year. So that's my take on it. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.